And it says we are live.
We are live, some of us, and some are not. But thank you very much.
Some have gone and some remain.
Yeah, indeed.
In the spooky Halloween theme of things. So it's never too early for Halloween, kids. It really isn't. And we just thought we'd get in the spirit a little bit early with our silly app.
Oh, lovely. Yes.
And so on. Can you see us, Marts? All right, in the control room? Yep.
Jolly good. Okay.
I think
so. Welcome aboard, folks.
Yep.
And I hope you're all ready for Halloween. It's almost here, around the corner. And we have an appropriate guest today. I won't waste time waffling and farting about. Oh, I said farting again.
She didn't say crap yet, though.
No, I said crap yet.
So
I have now. Well, okay, fine. So, yes, we have the wonderful Charles Rosenay.
Also known as Cryptmaster Chucky.
Chucky.
Also known as all of the things it says across the bottom. He's the tour guide extraordinaire of Transylvania, author, book of top 10 horror lists is what we're going to talk about today in the old Halloween spirit. So without further ado, drum roll for Bela Lugosi on backgrounds, and at the front of the stage, Cryptmaster Chucky, aka Charles F. Rosenay with 3 exclamation marks. Welcome, Charles.
Hello, Charles.
I don't think I've ever had an introduction with crap and fart in it before, but hi, guys.
You didn't have us before.
Happy Halloween.
Hi.
You look amazing. You look spooktacular.
Thank you very much.
Spooktacular.
In our 99-cent store hats.
Oh, yes. Yeah. Mine's much too big for me.
She's got a couple of pairs of socks in the top of it.
I love it. This is great. So different. I usually come on and we talk when there's a Beatles festival or a Beatles tour or my Beatles book, and we're talking Halloween. I love it.
Absolutely.
Horror shirt.
Well, you've done so many wonderful things and frightened the crap out. Oh, I've said crap again out of people, and we want to talk about all of that today.
Yeah. How on earth did you get started with the whole horror thing? Was it just a genre that's fascinated you since being a kid, or?
Yeah, it really has. You know, I always said my first memory in life was seeing the Beatles on Ed Sullivan Show.
Right.
As I've, explored my horror roots a little more, Mom sat me down, and she always wanted to see the Frankenstein movie with me, and sat me down, and we watched Bride of Frankenstein. Elsa Lanchester, Boris Karloff classic. And it took me a few watches, but I was hooked, and I've always been. When I started doing the Beatles Tours, now, 40 years anniversary of doing the Beatles Tours, the next thing I had to do was the Dracula Tours.
Wow, cool.
And one thing sort of begot the other, because these were my passions. Growing up, for me, it was baseball, Beatles, and monsters. That was it. That was my 3 loves till I discovered, Pretty Girls Like You. But before that, it was always that stuff. And it never left me. And I'm so blessed that all the things that I've been able to make kind of my side hustles have been stuff that I love because other people love it too.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I think, when I was growing up in England in the 60s, Halloween wasn't really a thing, was it?
No, not really. It was only when Paul and Linda sent us some pictures from New York of them in an elevator, actually, all dressed up in weird costume, that we really began to look into the whole thing of Halloween.
Because, Liverpool is a very Catholic town, and so there would be All Saints Day, which the Hispanic and Latino cultures separate as Dia de los Muertos, right? They go party in the graveyards with their dear departed. And so, we had Allerheiligen in Germany and All Saints Day. But the big thing that week was Duck Apple Night, Guy Fawkes Night, November the 5th, when Guy Fawkes blew up the Houses of Parliament, or tried to.
And
which so there was quite enough candy and chocolate and sugar going on. I just don't think that the English Dental Association wanted to add Halloween to November the 5th and have us all just explode with sugar. So, eventually it came along, and it's huge now. It's absolutely huge.
Are you insinuating sugar and teeth happen to be a problem in England? Is that what you were going for?
English dentistry. There's a lovely old Spike Milligan poem. English teeth, see them having fun. And anyway, the final line is 3 cheers for the brown, gray, and black.
Well, I gotta tell you, when we do our Dracula tours to Transylvania, we're the only ones celebrating Halloween. now more and more kids are doing like, raves and parties. But when we started doing it, 25 years ago, this is the 40th anniversary of the Beatles tours to Liverpool and the 25th anniversary of the Dracula tours to Transylvania.
Oh.
And we would go there and news cameras would come out to film us partying in Romania because it was such a novelty. It was such a shock.
Really?
Why are these crazy Americans coming over and dressing up and wearing costumes and all that? And so, it's now a lot of the kids do it, but it took forever to catch on in the rest of the world. And if you look at, like, you read up on sales of Halloween costumes and how much it's surpassed every other holiday in the world for sales. It's crazy.
It is crazy. Actually, our good friend Ashley Davy from Alabama is saying you played a trick on him once checking into the Adelphi Hotel. You just clocked his room number and said it was known for being haunted.
Well, you guys know the Adelphi, and every hall looks like The Shining. so yeah, I would pick a few people in the trip and go, oh no, you don't have that room. That's the haunted one. And sure enough, they would tell me they heard noises the night before and they heard footsteps and the door slamming. So a lot of that is psychological.
That is really funny.
Okay. Yeah.
So Transylvania, now geographically, that's actually part of Romania, correct?
It is Romania. So we'll fly into Bucharest. And then we'll go to all these places that very few people outside of this, have heard of. Places like Sighisoara, where Vlad the Impaler was born.
Oh, nice.
Snagoff, which is an island you have to get to by a rowboat, where Vlad Bones was buried. And then Sibiu, and all these cool places, Brasov, where the black church is and where Vlad used to impale, his enemies. What we do is we combine the fiction and lore and book of Dracula with the history of Vlad Tepes, Vlad the Impaler. And it's a whole week of scary fun. It's really
and then you finish off dinner at the Stinking Rose garlic restaurant.
People love it. Their bloody plum brandy at the Stinking Rose, exactly.
Oh my Lord!
Why do you think it is that people like to be scared? I don't actually.
I just opened my American Express bill if I want to be scared.
You want to be scared? Look at the
I
bank
think
account.
it's the same reason that people love roller coasters, because it's when you're in that moment and you're experiencing the jump scares of a horror movie, or you're at a haunted location, or you're at the top of that roller coaster, you get off it. and after an hour and a half, you walk out of the theater and you're back to normal life. But for that while, you're transposed into a different, universe. And it's for a lot of people, that's fun. I love even the worst horror movies. I absolutely love. Yeah. And, I think that's the reason why. It's the thrill, it's the charge. And most of the time we're jaded now. You look at what's going on in the world, nothing is scary anymore compared to what's going on.
Right. David's just saying it's adrenaline. Absolutely.
Yeah.
If a lot of people, many of our crowd, we're lucky, we're creative, or we've got crazy friends, or we do crazy things. But for the most part, the 9-to-5 guys and gals, they live a kind of a humdrum life, and they want these exciting thrills. And I think David's absolutely right. Adrenaline's probably one of the ways to do it. That's why people are addicted to coffee, because caffeine's like the baby adrenaline, right?
Yeah. Well, and it also makes sense, because here's one night of the year where you don't have to be yourself, where you don't have to live your normal life. You can dress up and be a sexy burlesque dancer, or you can dress up and be, Jason from the horror movies. You can really just be whatever persona you want to be, a cartoon character, anything. And, no one has to see behind the mask, that you're going back to 9 to 5 the next day.
That's right.
Yeah. Ange has a very simple costume. Well, she has an orange thing with Inmate, and we do her hair in little braids and give her knuckle tattoos. But her other favorite costume is a t-shirt with the mini like Fruit Loops and cornflakes and what have you on it. The little boxes,
cereal boxes,
you get, and then knives, and it's splashed with red food coloring. And she's a serial killer.
I love it. I get it. I love it.
So easy.
God, yeah.
I want to share a story with you guys. When I was a teenager, there was this great nightclub in New Haven called Toad's Place, and we were too young to get in there. And we heard that every year they've had this Spooks and Gooks, whatever it was called, cool Halloween party. And there was a band that would play. And we said, you know what? We're going to get dressed up. We're going to put on makeup. We're going to look so mature. We're going to do whatever we can to get in. And my girlfriend put on, she caked our faces with gelatin, like white, heavy, whatever it was. And then we blackened our eyes. And I put on a priest's outfit and she put on a nun's outfit. And we went there and we got in and we walked around. Now, in those days, I didn't have contact lenses yet. I hadn't had the eye surgery. I wore thick glasses and I took off the glasses. I couldn't see what I was doing, but I was staring at people. Okay. So now white face, caked on, zombie-ish, black eyes, just walking up and staring at people because I couldn't see them. So people were getting freaked out through the club. Come midnight, we come on stage. It's time to vote for the people who are going to win the contest.
Right.
Come on stage. She's on stage. We're under the heavy lights, and the makeup starts to melt.
Oh no!
God.
Oh yes!
A bit of a Rudy Giuliani situation.
We look like our faces were like were melting.
Oh God!
We won.
Yeah.
We won a year's free admission to a club we could never get into again until we were the right age.
That's hilarious.
And that was the first memory of Halloween in where we took it very seriously.
Oh, that's funny. Well, we have a special guest backstage that Angie and I have absolutely no idea who it is. But before I bring her on, I just want to send out love to one of our regular, wonderful viewers, Efrat, in Israel. We are with you, my sweetheart, 100%. And I know she's saying they have enough adrenaline in Israel right now. They don't need any more. So God bless you.
Blessings and brachas to Efrat and our brothers and sisters over there. Can I tell you about our special guest?
Yes, please introduce.
Yes.
So as you guys may or may not know, along with all the stuff I do, I have a Salem, Massachusetts Paranormal and Horror Convention coming up November 11th and 12th. And it's a big event. There's going to be tons and tons of guests. But this gal I met at a nostalgia convention in Maryland, and we hit it off. And I said, you have to come to my convention and be my horror guest, because she was the mom. She was one of the stars of the movie Silent Night, Deadly Night. She was on TV in Freddy's Nightmares and Buck Rogers and the movie Extra. But she might be known best for her role with Adrienne Barbeau in the comedy adventure movie The Cannonball Run.
Oh,
wow.
Yeah.
So we are proud to bring on to your tea time, ladies and gentlemen, actress Tara Buckman.
Yay!
Yeah, welcome. Hello, Tara.
Hello. Very nice to meet you.
Oh, you too.
Thank you for joining us. What a wonderful surprise.
And hello, Charles.
Hello, my love. When I told Tara I wanted you to come on a show with me, and I said, it's the McCartneys, she was like, okay, when? I'll be there, of course.
She didn't know it was just the two old broads.
No, I actually have been quite nervous. I don't know whether to call you Mrs. McCartney or Angie.
Angie.
Angie. You can call me an old bat if you like.
No, you are, my mother's 89 and I live with her, taking care of you. I don't call her an old bat.
She calls me an old bat and I'm only 94.
Yep.
Oh no, I'm only 93 till next week.
2 more weeks.
Yeah.
Wow.
2 more weeks. Yeah,
Keep on.
it's the hydration, you see. One must hydrate.
That is not tea time.
Well,
And what time is it there? I would have joined you. And I'm sure that's grape juice.
it's 11:45, but no, it's actually Munex Pinot Noir. But thanks for asking. Well, when it's birthday month, you got to make an exception.
Oh, when is your birthday?
Her birthday's in 2 weeks from today. She's 94.
So
November 14th, the same day as the King.
King Charles.
Oh my.
But I haven't sent him a card because a miserable mother, whatever, never sent me one.
There you go. There you go.
Yeah. So tell us all about how you guys met, first of all, Tara, and what is it that you present to your audience? And I'm sorry, I'm just so damn far away.
I present to Charles because he is the ruler and my king. We did meet, like he said, at my very first autograph signing in Nostalgia, Mid-Atlantic Nostalgia Convention in Maryland. And he came to the table, but I think you were wandering around and you were, I came up to you and said something about your shirt, you know, I didn't know you, but the way we talked was just a hit, you know, and we bantered and I felt, God, I know this guy. And then he came up to the table later. Oh, and you asked the guy I was working for to do this Salem convention.
Cool.
So you gave me your card or something. And then I found out that it is with mentalists and psychics. And, you know, I'm just horror, even though that's not my claim to fame. Cannonball Run is. But so I replied to Charles and said yes. But the reason is, aside from the fact that I adore him, is that I've wanted a reading for so bad.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
You're hearing this, guys. She's coming to the convention not to sign autographs, not to meet fans, not to take pictures with the fanboys. She wants to get a reading.
And I don't know how that'll happen because I guess they're there to sign autographs too. But then the consensus with all of them around, I hope will come up and tell me my future.
Yeah, well, or not.
Or not. Yeah. Do you want to know your future?
That's okay. But I want to know. So yeah, it sounds like fun.
Yeah.
Wow. I hope he'll be fun and
we'll see if we can arrange for you to meet the amazing Kreskin. Do you girls remember Kreskin?
Oh yes.
He's a mentalist.
Johnny Carson, the most famous mentalist of all time. Well, he was nice enough to do the forward for my ghost book, and he also is the other special guest along with Tara at this Salem Paranormal Convention, which is officially the Salem Paranormal and Horror Convention, and it's at Salem State University in Salem, Massachusetts, November 11th and 12th, and 20 or 30 guests in the paranormal field. Only three great guests in the horror field, Tara and two of the actors from Friday the 13th Part 2. And it's just such a fun event where, you know, everyone, it's chill. Everyone will get autographs and take photos and talk on stage. And it's in a giant one room. I don't do, you know, where I put the guests in a different room and the special authors in one room and the speeches in another. Everything is together. So it's a really family fun event.
How old would Kreskin be now, approximately? It's got to be in his 70s.
You know what? He asked me about dating Angie, so we're in the.
Tell him to call me. We'll talk.
Yeah. Well, when people ask about dating Angie and they say yes or no, I say depends.
Are you the one?
Depends.
Go out. Are you the one that chooses whether yay or nay if somebody asks her to go out, being her protector?
Well, yes, generally speaking, but you know, it doesn't happen often because she's only 4'10", but she packs a punch. They're scared of her. 4'10" and shrinking. So,
Tara, we got to get those hats and wear them together at the Paracon.
Well, it's the veil. It's the veil that turns me on.
Oh,
it really turns me on.
It's a bugger trying to eat spaghetti though with your hat on.
I guess. Well, no, it would just string up in the net. You know.
Yeah.
Do you remember Cannonball Run? Do you remember those two beautiful gals who were in the racing car, and then one of them jumps out and does something with a speed sign? Tara, tell us about that.
It's the opening shot with the music, and I think it's a great opening shot. To me, it's funny, and it's one of the best for a silly movie. And the Lamborghini, Adrian and I, Barbeau, were in the black Lamborghini. Everybody else, Roger Moore, is assigned to a different car, Burt Reynolds, Farrah, all that. But ours was a black Lamborghini. So it is speeding like a Lamborghini would. And a cop car just keeps trying to chase it. And the Lamborghini turns off, and then the cop car gets confused. But in the beginning, I am with the stunt driver speeding down there, and we screech to a halt, and that great black Lamborghini door just slides up. You know how pretty that is. I hop out, and there's a 55-mile speed limit sign there. So I take my red paint can and I cross it out. And then I do some little curly cue, I think, because I couldn't shake the paint hard. And I get back in. And that car just, that's the opening shot to kind of, I guess, set the tone of the movie that we're all on a race.
It's it's one of those classic, iconic, you know, it's like the scene called John Travolta and Samuel L. Jackson, the Royale with cheese. You know, if you've seen that movie, you remember it. It's classic.
Yeah. And we'll see there's Roger Moore.
Yes.
Jackie Chan.
Yes.
My boy was Jackie Chan. I think it was just his second picture. Farrah Fawcett, Dom DeLuise, Peter Fonda was in it. Adrienne Barbeau. Help me. Oh, Mel Phillips and Terry Bradshaw. Somebody. Sammy Davis Jr. and Dean Martin, and I love Dean Martin.
Oh, wow. I can only imagine what the catering lunch breaks were like. Crazy.
And the after party. Yeah.
It was the hoot. It was all laughs, and then there's little old me. Nobody knew me, you know.
Well, and we weren't also politically correct and woke and scared of being canceled. So you could actually have fun on movie sets in those days and josh each other around and, you know, rib each other and make jokes, and nobody
pinch the odd bottom,
pinch the odd bum, and nobody was offended. But now, oh boy, if you say, I made a joke something the other day on an email chain with a bunch of people that I thought I knew about why they called California the granola state, because if you tip America up, all the fruits, nuts, and flakes rolled into California. I got canceled by two of the people on the email chain for using the word fruits.
Nice. Oh my God.
And I know these people. They're like, how dare you? It's the LGBTQIA+.
I would not have thought that word. That's an old word. That you don't use that word anymore. That's weird.
So are we not allowed to wear Fruit of the Loom, or what's happening?
I was gonna say, if they released the movie now, you know, you can't talk about balls. It would be Cannon Run. It would be so lame.
Yeah, right.
Absolutely.
Cannon Spherical Run.
Do you remember Jack Elam? Jack Elam with the Louise, and he was what's the proctor that sticks your finger up the butt? See, we're gonna get canceled. And he held his middle finger out, and it was so gross. Do you remember that?
No, I don't.
Yeah.
They're called proctologists.
Jack Elam.
Okay.
Proctologists, yes.
Yes.
So you're right. Yeah.
I'm just prompted to think of a little song. Stick your finger up my bum.
Shake loose and let it fall. Well, we won't get canceled for that, but maybe copyright will.
How does this show go in this direction, guys?
I don't know.
Oh, well, you've got English people that are always going to talk about bottoms or bowels. Or
I love it. Yeah, that's I totally get it. I'm really, wow, go girls. I'm gonna watch you more often.
See, we got a new viewer. Thank you, Charles.
Wow.
Yes, indeed. Yeah, we'll see her with various wigs and other hats and headdress. We've got a whole drawer full of headdresses. Sometimes we just sit at night and we call it couch time. We have happy hour and we'll wear like 2 tiaras and a feather boa just for fun.
And that's only Martin.
That's just Martin. Yeah, exactly. That's just my husband.
Charles, you love them. Thank you for introducing me to them. I want hugs. I'm one of our family is just massive huggers. But I would have to.
We have been known as huggers. I think it was huggers, wasn't it?
Yeah, no, I think it was buggers, really, but never mind.
Boogers.
Tara, I got to tell you, you know, I put out a book called The Book of Top 10 Beatles Lists.
Yeah.
And both of these lovely gals gave me chapters in that book. But in the book before that, my first book, The Book of Top 10 Horror Lists, there's an Angie chapter in here.
Yes.
Well, how much did you have to pay her to do that?
We can't discuss that. I'm sorry.
Right.
Oh, okay.
I'm not allowed to say.
Well, if he wants to pay that bill today, I'll take Bitcoin.
It depends on if he made money on that book.
Right.
It's this mutual admiration society, and whenever we call each other, whatever it is, we're there for each other.
Absolutely.
Yeah, sure.
I just for the Beatle fans watching, let's all wish a very happy birthday to Miss May Pang
May
today.
Pang, yes.
Her new documentary is out, and the last weekend about her 18 months with John Lennon. And if you haven't seen it, make sure you do. And what's your next book of lists, Charles? You probably don't want to reveal it in case somebody pips you to the post, but
exactly.
You should we should come up with one of our crazy brainstorm Zoom ideas. And
but what about composers? A book of lists.
Oh, I see what you did there. LISZT.
Yeah.
Too brilliant for our viewership. Brilliant. I don't have another lists book planned. Maybe someday I'll do a sequel to the Beatle book or the horror book. But I have a book.
What about a to-do list? We've all got those. Or a bucket list.
Do you know what Charles does? When I met him, yes, I'm coming up to the convention, but then I look at everything he's done. I can't figure him out. He's got his he's got his butt in everything. I don't know what it is that what picture fancy, what your favorite subject matter is.
Well, I'll let you into a little secret, Tara. He's a shapeshifter.
Okay.
Not many hats, where I wear different hats, but many shapes. I love that. Hey, let's take a minute out here, guys, to read Angie's top 10 horror list.
Go right ahead.
Number 1, Stephen King's The Shining. Jack Nicholson's performance still haunts me. Number 2, The Lost Boys. I still like to watch this and follow through the careers of the boys and Diane Weiss, a classic. Number 3, The Omen. I prefer the 1906 version to the more recent one. A classic here. Number 4, M with Peter Lorre. Wow. Next, Alfred Hitchcock's The Birds. Which just
stop there. My heart's beating. Was that not good?
Which just celebrated its, I think, 60th anniversary. Rosemary's Baby.
Oh, okay. That beats them all.
This list is like, it could be the top 10 list of top 10 lists. Alien, The Exorcist,
yes,
Psycho, and Vincent Price's The Raven. Wow. This is as great a list as any in the book. And what's great about it is you give reasons why. It's not just a list. It's complete.
But most of those are older movies. The ones that are out now, that I was so embarrassed by and never even talked about it, are blood guts, and they don't have a story.
Yeah.
Do you agree? Those stories were wonderful, and they were suspenseful.
Well, they were written by real writers, and this is why we need real writers, and we need them to get paid, and we don't need AI to take their jobs and all of that stuff. I have to agree with Efrat, though, from Israel. She just saying Stephen King, Pet Sematary. Gave her the
if we're talking about books, the book is unbelievable. If we're talking about movies, Pet Sematary, the original, and Pet Sematary 2 are actually both classics, but anything else beyond that, forget it. Tara, I must tell you, I'm looking in the back of the book where I do a comprehensive index of every single film that's mentioned by a celebrity. Silent Night, Deadly Night, not in the book. Oh my gosh, how is that possible?
Now, see, I never talked about that movie, but when I was sitting because it was embarrassing. It was the first time after doing Berettas, Kojak's, Cannonball Run, Hooper, Barnaby Jones, all that stuff in those days. Then I did that. I think I needed money at the time. And also I loved the director, but, and it was the first time that I showed my boobies, and it was just dumb because
it wasn't the last, though.
What's that?
Hopefully it wasn't the last.
But there was no reason to do that.
Come on down.
So I've never talked about it. It's just been please, no, don't talk about. But that picture, the signing agent put it on my table, and so many people bought that, and they told me the story. I never saw the movie. I knew it was banned. I never talk about it. But then I found out that all these fans are telling me that, hey, there's 2 other movies about it. You're on trading cards. You're in that poster. Yeah. You're this, you're that. And so what happened is because I'm new to this, I started to really appreciate the fans, because I always thought, get a life, and who am I? But doing that made me understand them and how good it felt for them.
Yeah.
And then, so I finally succumbed, and I finally going, okay, Silent Night, Deadly Night. So here's the way I say it. See, I was the mother of 2 children and driving in the car, stuff. And then we pulled over because there was a Santa Claus broken down in his car. And then he kills my husband, and then he pulls me out of the car and he slashes my throat. But my son, I don't know, 4 or 5 years old, he ends up saw all this, and he turns out to be a massive Santa Claus killer in the next 2 episodes. I think the baby I had. So what I'm saying today is, I hate Silent Night personally, but dang, I created that little monster. That's my son. That's my son that went on to do these sequels. I'm the mother of that madness. So that's the only way I'm thinking about it to accept,
Yeah.
Well, there's no accounting for taste. I'm just too much of a chicken to watch. I mean, I watch horror movies with one eye open. Martin loves all that blood and guts and gore and crazy stuff, and I'll sort of be persuaded into it. But I'm scared enough opening the phone bill,
Our friend Sarah Karloff, Boris Karloff's daughter.
Yeah,
she still does conventions and makes appearances. And I asked her for a list in the book, and she goes, Charles, I hate horror movies. I don't even watch my dad's movies, but leave it with me. And she came up. Her list was top 10 things that scare me in life. And number 10 was having to do a list for this book.
That's funny.
Sarah Karloff. There you go.
That is classic. No, it is. And again, it's a genre that obviously with Halloween and Dia de los Muertos and all of that, it comes back. But it is a year-round thing. I mean, Jordan Peele has made an absolute fortune and a couple of Oscars about it, which I think he's done a wonderful thing with his movies, simply because we have always had, like behind you, Charles Bela Lugosi and Boris Karloff, they've always been white people, Caucasian people, right? Because probably of Vlad the Impaler in Romania and Transylvania and stuff. But I love the fact that Jordan Peele has been able to diversify the audience so that everybody can see themselves in these roles and situations and do all of that. I think it's just a great thing that he's done. Again, not a big fan of horror movies.
Well,
love his work, but it should be all inclusive,
I preferred him in Key and Peele. I loved Key and Peele.
I loved Key and Peele, but I think he's just done a good thing. He's bringing new audiences to the theaters.
That's right.
Right. The last time that was done was during that exploitative black film era, and you had Blackula, and there was a Black Exorcist, and there was Blackenstein.
Yeah.
There was
really.
Oh yeah, it was actually called blaxploitation with an X. Yeah. It was a genre of movies that came up in the mid to late 70s, early 80s, Charles, if I'm not mistaken.
Exactly right.
But the way it was named by the studios, run by banks and investors, right, was exactly what they were doing with it, was blaxploitation. And I think that was absolutely horrible. I think what Jordan Peele and his people have done, one of the young directors that we represent, Xavier, is in the horror genre. He's African-American too. And I think now it's more about the art, the writing, the storytelling, the arc. Martin and I just watched on Netflix, The Fall of the House of Usher. I don't know if you've seen it, but
from the guy who did Oh, those other haunted house series. Yeah, I haven't seen it yet, but I've heard great things about it.
Oh my gosh, you will love it. You will absolutely love it. And it's a bunch of actors you know from other things, but they're not so famous that they get in the way of the character. You know, you're not going, oh, I remember him in so and so. You're like, I know him from or her.
Carla, an older movie, or
no,
is that-
it's a new series on Netflix.
No, there is an older movie with Vincent Price,
Right?
House of Usher, Fall of the House of Usher, but this is a brand new series based on it.
Right, and it's basically the works of Edgar Allan Poe, including the Raven, and there's one character that plays the Raven. I won't reveal who he or she is, but you'll figure it out. Like I think it's 8 episodes, Martin, something like that, and it's based on the works of Edgar Allan Poe, but it's around retribution and karma coming back to a family who invented OxyContin.
Oh,
okay. Well, that's what they did a documentary on, but that's a whole different thing. This is
right.
Yes.
Okay. Right. That was the Matthew Broderick, which was very well done, but this is completely fictionalized. The main character is Roderick, and his family was, trodden on, and he worked his way up from the mailroom and just became this absolute tyrant, married a bunch of women, had a bunch of kids all over the world. And one by one, they all get picked off for their.
Well, this is good. I needed another Netflix series to Jones on. I really am without a binge. So thank you.
For this time of year, the Fall of the House of Usher is great. And again, like I'm not a blood and gore person. There's a couple of times I had to go ew and look away. But the way the character that is Poe's Raven, the way the story is arced and written, should prove to everyone forevermore in history that we just don't need another writer's strike. This shit doesn't write itself. These guys are geniuses, the way they've taken Edgar Allan Poe and then moved it into OxyContin and as a contemporary story. It's really, really good stuff.
Well, I need to come. You need to pick their brain for me, Charles. When I've been out of the business since 1995. I know nothing. I had my daughter single. She's 28. I know nothing. So I'm writing all this down of what to see as we speak.
Yeah.
Well, you can watch this entire show on YouTube in about an hour after we finish.
Yep.
Martin will put it all up there so you can go and watch it again and make notes if you need to. And by the way, you were talking about things to watch and to binge. It's getting off the subject of horror, but I am absolutely hooked on Suits at the moment.
I didn't finish that.
It's keeping me up till 3 o'clock in the morning, and I'm looking at the clock and thinking, oh God, I've got to get a few hours sleep. It's wonderful.
I started
episodes.
And I didn't finish it, and other people are talking about it. That's got a lot of seasons already, doesn't it?
Yeah. It had 9 seasons, 134 episodes.
Whoa.
Yeah.
Well,
it's not Beatles. It's not horror. I don't know. It's just a different language to me, guys.
Yeah, I know. And it's Meghan Markle. So moving on. Anyway, so Charles, tell us about your upcoming library dates that you're doing every night in October.
It's crazy. Today I'm in Darien, Connecticut. Every single night, I'm visiting a different library in the state weekdays, and I'm doing a presentation on the first book of Top 10 Horror Lists, and the current book, the True Ghost Stories of Connecticut. And I kind of tell, a little background about how, I grew up loving the monster stuff and how it affected my life. And I go on, and then when I'm done, I'll sign some, books if anyone wants it. And then I introduce my paranormal partner, who is one half of the shaman and the showman. I'm the showman, of course. And then
that's great.
And the shaman will then show them the ghost gear, the paranormal equipment, the spirit boxes, and we'll spend the last half hour actually walking through. And these libraries, some of them are over 100 years old, so we'll go through the library with the tools and see if there's any ghosts haunting the library. So the libraries are loving it. The people are attending, free admissions. It's great. If I sell a few books, it's cool. And while I'm there, I'll give everyone a flyer and say, hey, come to Transylvania with me, or come to the Salem Paranormal Convention. So everything, networks.
Cross marketing indeed. And for those of you in the music genre too, my husband Martin's next album is for Geist is Book of Light, but go online and check out Book of Shadows. It's very shadowy and creepy and weird. And the first one was Book of Mirrors, where the young man, the everyman in the story, Martin Cole, is examining his life and which decision to make, and he makes the dark decision and goes down the Book of Shadows road. So for those of you who are horror genre fans out there, check out geistmusic.com and Book of Shadows. There's some really deep, creepy stuff.
Yeah, that's going to have to write down. I have to listen to this. I don't like looking at myself or looking at film. Well, but only because they're information on movies and books. I'm going to write that down.
And so you mentioned shadow, Ruth, and I'm so glad you're mentioning that. I'm one of these people, when I go out on the paranormal investigations, I see nothing, I feel nothing, but I take pictures and I get a lot of great results. And I was at this old opera house, and someone was saying, you see above the balcony, which was boarded up, you couldn't get up there. It was too dangerous. There was no access. And no one had been up there probably in 100 years. Take pictures of that doorway. And I go, okay, I'll take pictures. Took a ton of pictures, came home, and in one of those pictures, mind you, this was a blank doorway. In one picture only. Yeah. There's the shadow figure.
There's a person in there?
It's I don't know if it's an actual person, if it's a ghost, if it's an entity, an anomaly, but I had to put that on the cover of my book. Wow. Such a shocking, wow. How did that even, come from a blank door?
But did the paranormal people that you were with communicate with them, or was it only that shot?
Oh, no, they did a lot of communicating with their equipment. In fact, they didn't see anything up there. They were sensing something. And when they do that, they tell me where to take pictures. And so I do that. And that's happened on a bunch of occasions where they've sensed a coldness in an area or an oppressed area, and they'll say, Charles, take pictures there. And that's sort of my, picture boy thing to do. And I come out with amazing stuff, orbs behind windows. We've seen faces, a lot of really creepy stuff.
Wow. Well, the way Angie and I perceive the people on the other side are olfactory. I get extra points for that through smells. So sometimes, I'm working in the front of the house and Angie's office is all the way in the back, and we'll send each other an email and say, did you just smell Jimmy Mac's cigar?
Wow.
And we both will smell a Romeo and Juliet cigar, which my dad only used to smoke one on Christmas Day. But if he's trying to get a message or something through, boom.
My mother's, perfume. She used to wear a scent, a cream perfume, and it was called Veluti.
And it was
she bought lavender, a little tube. It was. She used to buy it from Boots the chemist in Liverpool, and occasionally I will sniff that in this house, and I know that Edie is around somewhere.
The product doesn't exist anymore.
No.
And then the other thing that my husband and I have both experienced at East West Studio, at the 6000 Sunset Boulevard, where the Pet Sounds Beach Boys album was made, along with just a squillion others. But Studio 3 is known as the Pet Sounds Room. And it used to be the end. When you went out back of Studio 3, you were in the parking lot. So then they built on a little, extension to do another room down there. And the back door there it's a wooden frame door, but there's still a little sort of brick frame thing around it. Mm-hmm. And Mark and I, because he's a smoker, he goes outside to smoke. And he came back in one day and I said, you can't smoke in this building. But what the hell are you smoking? It smells like Gauloise or Gitan, like a French cigarette. He's like, I would never smoke indoors in this building, in any building. I went all the way down, like a half block down Sunset to Netflix to have a cigarette. And I'm like, so I go and I tell Candace Stewart, and she's like, oh yeah. She said, the Beach Boys and the ones that passed, unfortunately, they used to smoke Gauloise, and that was outside. Where you're smelling it, which is indoors now, that was the outdoor patio where they used to go out to smoke.
Yeah.
So in my house, the only time people smell stuff is if I walk by it. Well, I'm not going to say, never mind.
Yeah, you really something.
Going back to the intro.
No, but I mean, there was just so many senses. I just, I don't believe that when we go, we're gone.
Oh,
Right.
no.
You leave too much behind.
No, we're just going someplace else.
Yeah.
That they're right here. There's a like invisible kind of wall. They're right there. I don't know where they are. They're not up there, but I think they're right there.
But you have to learn, I think, in this life to just find a place to be still and just shut up and listen and be an antenna. And if your ancestors are trying to give you a message, let it in. You can make your own decision whether you want it. But if there's a decision to be made or a path, or you're frustrated or you're depressed or whatever, let them speak to you with the wisdom of the ages. But if you're farting around being just Mr. and Mrs. Busybody, there's just too much noise going on. They're not going to get in. Just let them in.
But you know what, Charles? When I first began talking to you about this convention,
Yes.
And psychics, paranormal, I said, and you told me that when people take pictures of you, they see something in the background and all that stuff, or something around you. But then I said, well, but do you do so much of this, but do you believe in it? He says, well, not really.
Well, so no, when it's the shaman and the showman, I play the skeptic, the non-believer. Obviously, I've had so many occurrences and so many things. The book True Ghost Stories of Connecticut is firsthand paranormal accounts by individuals who experienced the occurrences. I put my stories in here too. So I've had experience. It's not that I don't believe. I think that the persona in my scenario and doing all these events, when I play the one who, I'm playing a part in a way. So I'm playing the guy who doesn't believe in it. But I can't not believe it because of all the things that have happened.
Right.
Well, how did I get that so wrong? So in any case, but I'm glad I let you go on about that. That was a lead.
And that was a lead for me to promote the book. Thank you. Yeah. But also, what I meant to say was, when I do interviews, there's things behind me like Bela Lugosi and Hannibal. That's what I was trying to get at the time. You just misinterpreted everything I said, I think.
You guys need to get on the same astral plane.
Well, you know
we're at the stage now where we can tease each other and we have the greatest conversations. You have no idea.
We do.
I can imagine, yeah.
Well, Tara, we didn't know you were coming, so unfortunately, we don't have a custom limerick written for you. However, at the end of every show, we'll think of one and we'll come back to you. But I'd love to have you on separately.
Take the veil off.
Separately as a guest.
Yeah, we
probably need to read this. So
I didn't see the red under there.
Oh,
that's lovely. And I like your glasses. Do you do this at the end, reveal yourself or something?
Well, yeah, we do on this one. So in honor of our special guest and co-host today, Charles, and our booking talent, thank you very much. We always do a limerick at the end that our friend Paul Moody waits for. So a 1, 2, 3. New Haven's so spooky this fall. Charles Rosenay's the host of them all, with vampires galore, all howling for more, to ensure that we all have a ball.
Ta-da!
Wow!
I love it.
You do that at the, oh my gosh.
Yes.
The rhythm of that. Yeah.
Angie's writing a book of, it's called Liverpool Limericks and Other Irish Haikus. It's coming out soon.
You guys are.
See why I wanted you to come on the show?
Yeah, I've overstayed my time.
No,
not at all.
So different than any others.
Fantastic.
Yeah, I'm really happy I met you.
Me too.
Yeah, I'm gonna brag to everybody.
Okay.
And tell them to watch the show.
I've got to go now. I've got houses to haunt, so I'm very busy this week.
She charges by the room, so if anybody's interested.
No,
SalemParacon.org, November 11th and 12th at Salem State University in Salem, Massachusetts. All my books, if you go to Amazon, you can put in Charles Rosenay. And if you look at the Beatle one, I think it'll say other suggested books, and the McCartney gals come on there too. So always keep promoting, sharing.
It's too bad I know we got to go. It's too bad you won't have a big screen in the gym wherever we're at and have the girls on.
Well, maybe the next Beatle one.
We'll work on that.
Okay, yeah.
Look it up. But good idea.
Is not the thing. Okay, I just want to see you again.
Thank you to the next Rosenay Beatles convention executive producer, Tara Buckman.
I'm working on him.
Good girl.
You go get him, girl. You get 10%.
And you know what I'm working on? I'm working on getting on the big screen just the scene of Tara from Silent Night, Deadly Night, and have it on the biggest screen possible where you know what happens on that scene. But anyway.
Great.
Okay.
Well, thank you, kids, for joining us. Have a spooky, happy Halloween. Go and find Tara on IMDb, no doubt, and Charles Rosenay on Amazon and all of the above. And we will see you all of a sudden
Okay.
next.
Bye. Thank you.
Bye. Bye.
Bye. Bye.